You're watching Let's Chat.
We told you earlier in the show, this Thursday is our final Solid Orange drive-through t-shirt giveaway. You can get your shirt just like this. This is brought to us by our friends at Lexus of Chattanooga, as well as Food City and Solution Printing. And we would love for you to have one of these. Where? It'll be at the Food City, right there in the parking lot, just off Highway 41 down in Ringgold. Anywhere in and around Ringgold, come on by. It'll start this Thursday, beginning at high noon. We have 200 shirts that we will be giving away, so come on by and get yours as we continue and conclude our Solid Orange drive-through giveaway this Thursday. Again, starting at noon at Food City in Ringgold, just off of Highway 41. We also told you a bit earlier in the broadcast that prices are going up. You can't avoid that anywhere you go. I'm going to get rid of this so I can introduce you to our next guest. It is another good catch. Not by Julio Jones, but anyway. Chris Hopkins, our money man. Good to see you, Chris.
Thanks, Chip. I don't get a shirt?
He's holding it right over here.
I'll catch it later.
The prices everywhere seem to be skyrocketing. Typically, we talk about this during the last quarter of the year. Everybody's trying to make their Christmas profit and year-end managerial bonuses. But this year, the price spike seems to have started a little bit early, and we're going to begin with it at the pump. Checked earlier today, the price for a barrel of crude oil, roughly $82 a pop. Some financial guys are saying this could go up to $15, $18, $20 a barrel, could increase by that much, sending our gas prices up to $15, $18 a gallon. Is that conceivable?
It's not likely. So let's back up a step. The price of oil has basically doubled in a year. And you know, it all traces back, this inflation that we're all experiencing. You know, the Fed's kind of downplaying it, say it's temporary. You know, it's probably going to back off and ease off by maybe the middle of next year as supply chains untangle. But let's face it, we came roaring out of this recession. It's the shortest recession ever in history as a result of the COVID shutdowns. And so all of a sudden we're driving just as many miles as we were before the pandemic. We're flying almost as many miles. There are 2 times as many trucks on the road. So the demand for fuel increased very rapidly. And the supply just couldn't keep up. So that's really the trigger of inflation always is more demand than supply, and it takes time for the markets to adjust. So yeah, right now we're engaged in this inflationary environment. Fuel prices have risen. A couple of reasons for that. Obviously, the big spike in demand is the biggest driver, and inventories were low. Remember, in the middle of COVID, the drilling shut down. We didn't think we were going to be using oil. Inventories, we ran them way down. So right now, there's not a lot of oil in inventory in the storage barrels, where a year ago they were full.
What's a 30-second piece of advice you would give to someone who maybe doesn't have that perspective, and they're going, look, a year ago we were paying under $2 a gallon for gas. Now we're north of $3, and there ain't no end in sight. What do you tell them?
Well, I mean, all you can do is basically just take it. I mean, you know, you can try to reduce your trips. You can do all the normal things we do to economize. But, you know, you should bear in mind that this is a temporary situation. One of the things we have now that we did not have in previous energy crises is the ability in the United States to ramp up production. You know, you and I can remember $150 a barrel oil. And then we can remember $20 a barrel oil after the West Texas fields began producing. So we're now the world's largest producer of oil, and we just haven't responded yet. So what's happened is drillers remember the bad days. They remember going bankrupt because they borrowed too much. They're just taking their time to reopen these oil fields. So give it another year. You know, just understand you're going to have to pay a little more now. Gas prices probably back down below $2.50 a gallon in a year or 18 months.
Well, just a few years ago, we were paying above $4 a gallon.
That's correct.
For gas, and like you said, eventually it will all equal out. Maybe a little bit higher than what we would prefer, but it does, it will equal out.
And we're not dependent on OPEC like we used to be.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Key.
You talked about supply chains a moment ago. We're going to pick up on that discussion and figure out why there are dozens of huge container ships in the Gulf in the Atlantic, in the Pacific, in the Panama Canal. Why aren't they here? We're going to find out more about that with Chris Hopkins when we continue with more of Let's Chat after this.